Salutation to Mother Earth, salutation to the water, salutation to the fire, salutation to the air, salutation to the space, salutation to all the living, non-living things and beings of this universe. We, the human beings, are so privileged by your auspicious presence in our life. But we wonder how all this got created in the first place. Who came first and who came after? Is there anything beyond the space or before the time? Let's witness the dance drama on Tanmatra, the subtle essence of creation. O mighty five elements, you have witnessed the entire creation. Please enlighten us and lead us in the path of celebration, dance and joy. Tasmadva etat smadatmana akasa sambhutah. The Atman creates the space.
आकाशाय च विद्महे नभो देवाय धीमहि तन्नो गगनं प्रचोदयात्.
I am the space. All objects and experience get created within me. I am omnipresent and ever expansive. Just like a painter needs a canvas to draw, the Brahman needs me to create everything. I am infinite and I am eternal. I create the sound. If you keep me balanced, you will be able to express yourself and attract everyone towards you. The star in my space, which you see as the physical sun in the sky, is also installed in every cell of your body, representing your energy system and the chemical makeup. The sun represents the source of life, the inspiration of life, and the balance within the life. Please join me saluting to Surya, or the dispeller of darkness.
Suryaya Namaha. Suryaya Namaha. Suryaya Namaha.
I am the air. You can hear me and you can feel me. I am the provider of prana, or the life force, to all living beings in this planet. Remember, there is only one air which we all share. If you keep me balanced, you will experience more love, empathy, and compassion for all beings. You'll be able to understand others deeply beyond their words and actions, and can bring more gratitude and forgiveness. Just like Pavan Putra Hanuman, you all are the offsprings of air only. With my presence, you will become one like him, who is swift as the mind and fast like the wind, master of the Tanmatras, who control your senses, intelligence and wisdom. You will also experience more stability, purity with the harmony of your breath.
मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयोद्धमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये.
I am the fire. I have sound, touch and form. I give you the heat, the burning desire and the passion to do things in life. If you keep me balanced, you will become more self-loving, compassionate, confident and assertive. You will have the persistence and the drive it takes to achieve your goal and even win someone's heart, just like Krishna did for Radha. Radha is suffering the pangs of separation from Krishna, which is very evident from her attitude towards Krishna. Krishna tries his best and pleads with her to forgive him. You can punish me in any way, but please don't be angry at me anymore. I am being tormented by your love. Radha is confused, seeing Krishna suddenly appearing in front of her with his heart full of love for her, and goes through the inner conflict whether to forgive him or stay frantic.
वदसि यदि किञ्चिदपि दन्तरुचि कौमुदी हरति दरतिमिरम् अतिघोरम् स्फुरद् अधरसिधवे तव वदन चन्द्रमा रोचयतु लोचन चकोरम्.
I am the water. I have sound, touch, form and taste. I fill up 70% of your body and play a very vital role in maintaining the balance. I flow in different forms like river, lakes, oceans, snow, steam, and even as clouds. If you keep me balanced, you will be more creative, committed, vibrant, energetic, and blossom like Pallavi, taking Pada, the music, Laya, the crescendo, and Vinyasa, the elaboration. You will experience the fullness and richness of life, just like the water starts from the mountain, becomes a river, meets the ocean, and again becomes clouds and raindrops and come back to the source. A complete journey. I am the earth. You can find in me all the 5 attributes: sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, which makes me the most powerful. Prithivya Osudhaya. The earth creates plants. Osadibhyos Annam. Plants creates the food. Annat Purusha. The food creates life. All plants, animals, birds, mountains, human beings, all are covered under me. I am associated with the present era, influencing the 3 most important things like money, relationship, and spirituality. If you keep me balanced, you will feel very grounded, safe, secure, and stable in your life. I have witnessed the entire evolution of humankind, starting with a unicellular species to the trillion cellular human beings, which is also depicted in the story of the Avatar, the 10 reincarnations of Lord Vishnu: Matsya, the fish; Kurma, the tortoise; Varaha, the boar; the Narasimha, half man and half animal; the Vamana, the dwarf; the Parshuram; the Ram; the Balaram; the Buddha, and the Kalki, who is yet to come. We have been experiencing the Prakriti so much thanks to the creative interplay of all Tanmatras and great elements. But how about the experiencer, the God within each one of us? How can we see and feel the presence of that oneness among all things and beings? Mahatma Gandhi got inspired with a prayer, Vaishnava Janato, that reassured him about the true nature of the godly people. Godly people are those who see others with empathy. They help those who are in misery, but never let self-conceit enter their mind. They respect the entire world, respect other women, and do not succumb to attachments. They are blessed souls.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे, पीड़ पराई जानी रे। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए।
From that Atman, the Supreme Soul, space came into being. From the space the wind, from the wind came the air, and from the air the fire, from the fire came the earth, from the earth came all plants, from the plants the food, from the food the man came into being.
तस्माद्व एतस्मदात्मान आकाश सम्भूतः आकाशद्वयोः वयोरग्निः अग्निरापः अद्भयः पृथिवी पृथ्वीभ्यः ओषधयः ओषधीभ्योऽस्नाम् अनन्तपुरुषः अनन्तपुरुषः अनन्तपुरुषः
Namaskar. I invite all the participants for this event. I understand this is a very different and unique kind of event. I also welcome Mr. Manoj Joshi, who is with us from California. And in next 1.5 hours, he is going to discuss about issues and challenges which all of us are facing in our life. I would like to introduce Mr. Joshi first today to the audience as a change of process. Mr. Manoj Joshi grew up in one of the interior parts of India in a small state. And then he was an engineer. Many of you will be surprised. I'll also introduce to another engineer, my chairman, who pursued a different path. So basically, he is an engineer who studied computer science and moved to US with his wife. But as a child, when he was growing up, he was listening to the hymns and prayers from his father, and he was inclined into the idea of Hinduism, idea of philosophy, and that latter grew to become spiritualism. So after being an engineer for 17 years in US, he decided to change the track of his life and decided to pursue the path of spiritualism, not only as a practitioner, but also he has a large set of followers, those who follow him across the world. He lives in California these days, runs his yoga studios. He runs a company that talks about wellness in all methods. He combines Eastern philosophy with the Western philosophy, takes them together, and tries to solve the problems. When we talk about a problem, we always thought this is a physical problem. But in his opinion, the problem is more complex. It goes beyond physicality to the psychological aspect part of it, to the social aspect of the human being, as well as to the spiritual part of that. So there is a path of elevation, and he combines Eastern and Western philosophy on this path of elevation. I welcome to the 11th webinar, Manoj sir, and thank you for being here for the event. I take this opportunity to introduce my chairman, the man behind the show, Mr. Rustam Kerawala. Some of the audience is new here. Mr. Joshi is new here. Mr. Rustam Kerawala is also an engineer by practice. He finished his education from NIT, and then he came back after completing his course from MIT to start his hospitality business. From there, he started his school. He had a vision to build one of the unique schools of India. Then he started building up one school. And from that one school in Mumbai, today we have 55,000 students. We have 3,000 teachers, and completely based over a new philosophy, new thought process about how we can build equity through education, Mr. Joshi. And then 3-4 years before, he was also like you, he was passionate about technology. He decided to change the direction and added technology as one of the key drivers of business. Currently, we own multiple platforms, vocational training platforms. We have got K-12 platforms, teacher training platforms. He's one of the doyens in India who talked about public-private partnership. He took the learning lessons from the domain of private enterprises, efficiency, productivity, to the public domains and applied that in the context of schools and balwadis and anganwadis. He had this question, why private sector can bring this kind of effectiveness, why that cannot be transferred to the public sector. Welcome you, sir, to the event. And in this journey, with Mr. Kerawala, we had our madam, Kavita Saya madam, who is the vice chair of the company, who is a teacher, who was a teacher. From there, she currently heads all our academic activities in the organization. When she came back, she found out there's a large variation on the way students are being taught and what content goes to the students there. So she led the initiative for creating unified curriculum in all the big schools, and how that curriculum can be more student-centric and how that can respond to the new generation challenges. She's a very dynamic person. She has been awarded multiple times by television channels, by magazines, newspapers there. I welcome you, ma'am, to the program, today's program. Now, to start the program, I'll request my chairman to speak few words and welcome all of you.
Good evening, everybody. All the guests and the panelists, Mr. Manoj Joshi in particular, thank you for sparing the time. The topic, while I don't know much about it, and I've been watching the very interesting video, but it had always been on my mind to know more. And I think that's the same with a lot of the people as the guests that are there. So yeah, it's your stage. Welcome, and look forward to knowing far more.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Mr. Kerawala always speaks less. He's a man of action. So He takes the ideas from us, and he's definitely going to do something with learning so that we create better human beings in the society and we give a better society to the world. But now I'll introduce you to Kavita ma'am, who practices yoga, and she's a part of the meditation, and she's going to talk about her experience, her benefits that she got out of yogic practices before I hand it over for my conversation with Mr. Joshi. Kavita ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome Mr. Manoj Joshi ji. It's been it's an honor to be here talking to you, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot more from you. In fact, you are doing what I always wanted to do. So I'm very happy to be interacting here with you. Welcome, sir. Now, Dr. Panda, sir, what you asked about my experience, basically, I think the seeds were sown long back because I come from a family which always believed in Aham Brahmasmi, which is nothing but a Mahavakya from Yajurveda. And it means God is in me, I am one with God. And that is also the basic principle on which yoga rests. So I had no idea that, one day, I'll be so much interested in all this. And the more you learn about it, you realize that you know less. So it is such a vast ocean of knowledge on its own. So initially, that was the base. And I also read Yoga Sutra by Patanjali for my father, who was by chance completely blind with both eyes. And I used to read a lot loudly for him because he used to make me read all the ancient scriptures. Even then, it didn't sink much. But over a period of time, slowly I realized that my foundation was already formed during those years. That was early 90s. Later, like everyone, yoga was like, a posture-based physical fitness and stress relief technique for me also. It started more like an alternative for physiotherapy initially. But later I realized that yoga, it actually means sum. That is total. So it is not just about your body. It is also about your mind, and it is also about your soul and spirit. So it is everything put together. So that holistic approach is, I think, very, very unique to yoga. And that is what I learned, over a period of time. Yujjate anen iti yoga. That is, yoga is, it brings everything together. It is, yuj means joining. So it brings everything together. It teaches you how to control your mind. It teaches you how to change your heart, change your perceptions. So there's so much more to it than what normally people understand. And this I have picked up over a period of time. It has had a calming effect on me. I'm more composed, I feel, more at peace, more free, more fearless, more myself. So I have really felt all these changes in me. So I'm really looking forward to this interaction with you, sir, Joshiji, because I know that you have done so much in this line, and you are so educated in this that there's so much more to learn from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we will come to Mr. Joshi, who is present here. Our idea is to have small conversation this time, couple of questions, and then I leave to Mr. Joshi to give us talk to us, and then we'll take back to the questions, and that's a kind of a mode, a small change to the process there. Of course, the first question that everybody would like to listen from you, why this? Why did you move from the idea of being an engineer who is testing softwares, working on softwares, to somebody who is charting a different kind of path?
Thank you very much. I think it's a great privilege for me to be a part of this wonderful group. I know Dr. Panda almost virtually for last 30 years, over 30 years, at least by person. But I think very recently, just a few weeks ago only, we got reintroduced. particularly the work that he does in the area of mindfulness and spirituality. And I've been following his work and the kind of leadership that we all are partaking right now. I would say like the Ampersand group, I was just doing a little research this morning. It's such a wonderful concept altogether. Just like Kavita ma'am said, like, see, I'm doing what she wanted to do. I would say the same, like, you guys are doing everything what I wanted to do. And it's a very defining moment for me to be a part of this group. I think the time is right now. As Dr. Panda asked me, like, why did I have a zigzag path in my life? I think the answer is, I don't know. Nobody knows, because we are all part of the same source. Just like a river flows, starts its journey from the mountain, and then it goes through all the different terrains and finally merges to the ocean. And in that journey, you might have come across many cities, many villages, many landforms. So nobody knows. The river doesn't know, because he knows where I start from. I know, where I'm going towards, where I'm heading towards. So that is what called the yoga. Like, yoga is the union, as ma'am said. Like, it's a union. It's adding together. So when we have that aspiration from the childhood time and like to become somebody or be the best version of our own self, life offers opportunities. As Buddha says, life and time both are wonderful teachers in this world. Time teaches the value of life, and life teaches the value of time. So as we pass through with this body, mind, and spirit concept of this divine, this universal vehicle that we all are sharing, it goes through many different paths. And then if you're open-minded and if you're just reflective in nature, I think you just take everything as an opportunity and try to create different possibilities in your life. I think that has been a story of my life. Like, always be open, go with the flow, and whatever the universe offers you, just see it as a beautiful sign and just go towards it. Just flow with, just like a river. That's
Mr. Joshi, thank you for the answer. Mr. Joshi, many a times in life, we think we can rationalize things. We can justify our existence. We can rationalize our things. On the other side, the scientists have said we just use 5% of our brain. We just use 5% of our brain. And I understand by yogic practices or by taking mindfulness as an action, we can ignite the rest 95% as much as we can ignite that power. That empowers us to get more inner strength. And that gives us or calms down our mind, as Madam was referring about. So we can handle the mental health issues. So in last 3 to 4 months period of time, what kind of challenges, what kind of questions, what kind of sufferings have come in front of you that you have experienced across?
Definitely, that's a great question. I think the COVID-19 pandemic has created an opportunity in disguise, I would say. Let's start with a positive tone. Of course, the problems are many. As you can see, like the physical problem, mental problem, psychological problem, emotional problem, spiritual problem. There are so many different kind of problems. People, seeing people dying so many days, so many in every day, in the whole world is suffering. And the worst part is people who are social beings, like people love to be together. And that thing is taken out. The freedom of being together, the freedom of expressing our love, that is taken out right now for a moment, temporarily. And the saddest part is like, when people are dying, of course, like there are no loved ones. So it's creating a little bit of separation. If you ask me the question of the whole COVID-19 pandemic, I was actually presenting a talk, a kind of a play in a comical way to explain the concept of what I really got out from this situation. So if you look at the Bhutanu, or call it the virus, Bhutanu is Bhutka Anu, like this is a ghost particle. Like basically it's not a living particle, it's a sariri. It doesn't have a body of its own. It's a protein molecule, which becomes a parasite in human body. And that is already, it's not living, so it cannot be killed, period. So it is a Bhutanu. But if you look at the other side, what in 2012, the scientists wanted to find out how the Big Bang theory was behind the creation of the universe. When they did their experiment in a big tunnel in the border of France and Switzerland, they found out something called God particle. So in the beginning, everything was separated, like the hydrogen molecule is separate, the oxygen molecule is separate. So something that binds them together, that they call as a God particle. So I call it as a Brahmanu, like Brahma, as you say, Aham Brahmasmi. So Brahma Anu, the God particle, and the virus, the Bhuta Anu. So the whole journey has now opened up how we can really transcend from the Brahmanu, Bhutanu concept to the Brahmanu concept. So basically, there could be many problems, but right now I think it's an opportunity to showcase the possibilities that we all can become as one. That oneness is the challenge right now. The spiritual togetherness, because we have been doing everything in isolation, like a rat race, in pursuit of happiness from the objective world, without understanding the subject itself. So I've been a programmer, I've been a software engineer. So I was always dealing with the object-oriented programming. So if you look at the object-oriented programming, everything is taken as an object, like there's an abstract object. And you have to re-instantiate that and then in form of, so you inherit all the properties of that object that was created in the first place. Likewise, so the subject that we all are also created from the abstract classical God, Brahma. So how we can really exhibit those qualities that is already inherent inside us by activating those functions from the library that we all have, and then showcase those talent. And that's the kind of thing that I would say, beyond the problems that we all are seeing, how we can create different possibilities through our creative mind, because necessity is the mother of invention. Every time the human beings are created or faced with different challenges like this, they always have become creative. So I think the whole world or the universe is kind of challenging us. The fight between the human beings and the virus will definitely end up in a very positive experience.
Thank you. In our conversations earlier, you have said the direction of the life or the spirit has to be always upward. But for going upward, you need two wings. The two wings need to be balanced. If the two wings are balanced, then only one can go upward. If one wing is closed, you take a direction or you may fall down. If you close your wings, you die there. So I think there is also people pursuing happiness. I do not know whether you can call that as real happiness or in a superficial way. And also there is a greed-based life play. So when you look at these two aspects, which are opposite to each other, the superficial way of pursuing happiness in life and greed-based life play, which is there, what is that is the learning lesson for all of us?
I think as we have already talked about the different definitions of yoga, so one of the definitions of yoga is called Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. That means yoga is all about bringing balance. So amidst all these opposite forces, or you may call it complementary forces, the material wing and the spiritual wing, just like the two wings of the bird to soar higher in the sky, we all have that because they're all complementary to each other. You cannot become totally spiritual. Right now, it's not the time that you all can become Buddha again and renounce everything, the kingdom. We don't have to. Because right now, the challenge is that being here as a grihasti, as a sansari, like being a part of the nature, part of the world, dealing with everything. But how do you really bring balance? How do you free up our mind from stress, worries, anxieties? Because everything has got both positive and negative. Because things have got a mix of things. What we really take out from them. Like I've seen people who might have a lot of possessions, but they're not attached to them. So how do you really strike a balance between this attachment and detachment? That's what yoga talks about. That's what yoga teaches us. Like if you can strike a beautiful balance between materialistic approach to happiness and a spiritualistic approach to happiness, identifying what exactly and what is the main source of happiness. So if you look at all these experiences and different kind of stories that we have heard, the one thing that we all have to realize is that human consciousness is the source behind everything. That is superimposed in the form of different happiness on the material objects. And the mind plays a major role in this process. So the mind is a manipulator, so-called. So the Brahman is the source of everything, and all the Maya or the objects that is there in the names and forms of this world, they are kind of misinterpreted by the mind to play a game. We call it Leela, or the play of God, or what Shakespeare said, the whole world is one stage and we all are actors and actresses. We are all playing different roles. So in this role-playing activities, we are falsely or knowingly, we are identifying happiness to be a part of the objective world. But in reality, the happiness belongs to the consciousness. The happiness belongs to the Atman. The happiness belongs to our true self. So the struggle between how do we balance in this Maya world or in the world of illusion, where the brain is constantly deluding ourselves about different objects, about different memories, about different experiences. So how do we stay aloof from them? And yoga gives the beautiful example of a drop of water on a lotus leaf or a drop of water on the duck's back. So the water clings there to a beautiful extent that it doesn't become like so much attached. It can come out easily. So like that, if we can find a balance of we remain in this world and enjoy everything like a custodian, like the beautiful house, all the material wealth, because this is all our creation, but not getting attached because of greed factor. The greed is ignorance. So yoga talks about we suffer because of ignorance and we can liberate ourselves with the true knowledge. And that is the biggest and the most important gift from India to the world is that knowledge is one factor that can liberate the human mind. That's the only factor. And only through knowledge we can come out of this darkness with this suffering.
Mr. Joshi, thank you. Thank you for your views. I have often seen you commenting about something called spiritual holocaust. Maybe this is my last question at this point of time. After that, I will leave you to give us the idea of the 8 questions that you talk about, the idea of important aspects of Hidayam that you can take us through. But since I wanted to know this from you, why do you really look at spiritual holocaust as a concept there, and you often talk about that?
I think the whole world is, as you said, like the spiritual holocaust. Or there is a emptiness right now. I call it a pralaya. If you look at the whole mythological story, every time there is a era or there is a eon like Satyayug, Dwapar Kali, all the different eras of time are there. And before the transition happens, there is a pralaya, or I call it, to some extent, this itself is called a subtle spiritual reset. Because we have been on one path in the materialistic pursuit of happiness, long way. I think we have taken a wrong exit. So this spiritual challenge that is given to us is right now to go inward and find out what exactly is happening in our life and how collectively we can be together. Because spirituality is nothing but being in the spirit of love, being in the spirit of hard work, being in the spirit of truthfulness, being in the spirit of being loyal, being in the spirit of humanity. Because if you look at human being, we have never been or don't want to become somebody, always in that constant source of being. The spirituality talks about how we can be that pure existence, that pure consciousness, and that pure bliss that we all are, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So that is why this situation is there right now before us to experience that totality, experience that oneness that we all are, and go beyond the materialistic pursuit of happiness and enjoy the spirituality that we all have. So from that point of view, it's a beautiful spiritual renaissance, a spiritual holocaust that we all have to take shelter within our own self and find meaningful avenues to come out of this problem and create more prosperity for the humankind.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi. We have also parents and students on the Facebook Live platform. Many of them, around 25,000 people, are watching through the Facebook Live platform. I have many questions to ask you, like the concept of Lucy's children, all that part, but I'll hold on to them at this point of time. And now I will leave the floor to you so that you can address all the people, those who are watching you, about the concept of Hridayam and the concept of the questions that you talk about, because our idea goes to intelligent question and emotional question maximum that far. But you have gone beyond that part and you talk about that part. Now I leave the floor to you.
I think, unfortunately, because of the technological revolutions and the social media problems, like we all have very less attention span right now. I would rather let's do 5 minutes of some exercise so that we can freshen up our mind and then get into some more talks. So as we talked about the 5 elements in the video that I talked about, the earth element, the water, air, and fire, and space. If you look at our palms have got these 5 elements. So if you look at the thumb, that represents the fire element. The index finger or the pointer represents the air element. This one represents the space element. This one, the earth element. And the little one is the water element. So there are a lot of small exercises that we can do to trigger the balance between the 5 elements, which are behind the chemical makeup of all we are, the emotional balance or the hormonal balance or the chemical balance that happens is because of different things that we engage into, like a breath, for example. I was practicing with an Himalayan master. He taught me 576 ways that we can breathe. 576. Wow. It was so intriguing for me. It took me about 6 months to understand the concept. Like, how can we breathe for 72 hours and go through the cycle of 576? And he told me that it is written in the Veda. He told me, Atharva Veda, look at this concept. It is already given. You create 3,125 calories of energy by just being in one place through the breath. I said, wow, what is this 3,125 number come from? And it gave me an example of 5 to the 5. You've got Pancha Prana, you've got Pancha Kosha, you've got this Panchendriya, all the different 5 to the 5, 3,125. It's so mathematical. Then I was so intrigued to read Vedas. And then it's such a wonderful concept of understanding that how breath is very important to balance the 5 elements through different techniques that we do. In order to do it properly, we also can do some exercise to trigger different acupressure points in our hands. So let's do some exercise for 2-3 minutes so that we can freshen up our mind. So if you everybody can do this one. Keep your left palm like flat like this and make a tight fist with your right palm. And just in the center, just punch about 10 lines, 10, 15 times, as hard as possible, without hurting yourself, of course. This is activating all the acupressure points that connect to all the subtle organs and we have, the brain, mostly. Good. Now change your hands. Keep your right palm flat and the left fist. Just try to strike as hard as possible. Good. Feel that nice relaxation happening and then also the gentle sensation that you can feel. That's one of the healing power that we all have. One of the form of the prana or called vyana. It's already radial in nature and it's seen as pulse in our body. Now, second aspect is like you make a fist with your left palm and then take your right palm and then just tap 2 times on your left wrist joint because this is a very important area. Good. Change your hands, keep your right palm at the fist and on the top of the right wrist joint. With your left palm, strike 2 lines. This will activate a lot of acupressure points. Good. Feel the relaxation. Take a nice and long breath. Breathe in and breathe out. So the next one is clapping. So when we clap, naturally we create a environment of inspiration. When we see somebody doing something good, we clap. So in all my public meetings, I always encourage people to clap more because when you clap, all the different acupressure points of the fingertips, the middle of the palm, the bottom of the palm, they get activated and it triggers a happy hormone like endorphin or oxytocin or different kind of positive hormones the brain can secrete. So let's clap by putting all the points as close as possible and as loud as possible. Okay, relax your hand. Feel the tingling sensation that you are experiencing. This is something called, if you practice Reiki or pranic healing, like you feel that, wow, I have got the healing power in my hand. You feel the sensation? Good. The next one, just put your fingers interlaced and then just try to rub them together. So inside of the fingers, there are a lot of acupressure points that activates our brain, our memories, the heart function, the lungs, the liver, pancreas, all internal organs. Just like our hands have got the blueprint of our body. That's why if you go to a palmist, it will not only see the blueprint of yourself, it also see the blueprint of the entire universe. Okay, relax the fingers, breathe in and breathe out. With the next one, is on the side of your palm, just like a karate chop. So you try to put them together as hard as possible again. Good, relax, inhale, exhale. Next one, try to bring the base of the palm. This is also a very important aspect. Just try to bump them together. Good. Relax your fingers, relax your palms. Breathe in and breathe out. So this is 7 techniques. This is the 6th one. The 7th one is make a cup like with your pointers and thumb, and then try to hold it tightly and just rub it around. You might be wondering like why the Indian women wear so much bangles. I think one of the reasons is that it activates the acupressure points. It protects their health. Good. The other hand. Good. Relax your hands. Let's take a couple of mindful breaths. Very slowly breathe in and breathe out. So, friends, let's delve into a little bit about the kind of work that we are doing as a group and how we can benefit from it. So, after this talk, again, I'll be open to questions and answers. You can also ask me questions anytime. There is a chat function, I think. You can always ask some questions in the chat. And even if we cannot answer all the questions right now, we'll definitely be able to talk to you later in whatever way that is possible. Well, we work at different levels. For example, the personal growth level. Individuals, we engage into different kind of healing conversation. We coach them like a life coaching form. I call something called a FAME course. Like it's a focus and mind empowerment program that I have got. I have helped a lot of people in the Silicon Valley Bay Area that I'm working in, closer to Facebook, closer to Google. This is the heart of the Silicon Valley we are in right now. So there are a lot of opportunities, of course, but there are different kind of problems. People go through a lot of stress. So this program has been helping a lot of executives and a lot of IT professionals mostly, and the students community. We have got small courses like this for 8 weeks in different universities right now, launching those programs in educational institutions to non-profit foundations. I work with a couple of more organizations like WellnessByAllMeans is my brand, but there is an organization called 21SWP. It's called Social Wellness Partnership. So we try to seek partnership with individuals, with different companies, and also nations to promote different concepts of how do we clean up our mind. There is a professional growth opportunity that is just a project that we are working on right now. It's called Hudayam. I'll talk a little bit about that. And there's a global consciousness project that we have launched on the 21st of June, which is called a Global Meditation Marathon. So I'll also talk a little bit about that. So Hridayam is a concept that we want to tap in right now because of the COVID-19 situation. It's all a wonderful concept. How do you really increase the usage and application of the resources that is given to us by doing some inner development work? So as we have already hinted, one of the most important resources that is given to humankind is the mind itself. So the mind, the intelligence, the spirit, the memories, what we call as antakarana, the inner instrument given to us, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. So these are all 4 instruments given to us, and how we can really build up those resources and become the best version of our own self through applied yoga and meditation techniques. If you look at the different problems that we just talked about, there are so many problems that could be categorized as physical in nature or psychological in nature, emotional in nature, or financial in nature. Relationship-wise, different problems are there because of a different situation. The world had never seen such a situation where human beings will be locked down for such a long time. So it's a great challenge to all of us to find out like how we can really overcome the financial problems that we all have right now. How can we work together in one family under one roof? The kids doing their schoolwork, the project work's happening, husband and wife working, small kids. So much of things that's happening at different individual level, community level, and at the global level. But if you look at the other side of it, the positive side of it, there are also a lot of awareness building up right now because people have time to think uh, about the applied aspect of the yoga and mindfulness, yoga and meditation, spiritual consciousness for an enhanced lifestyle, for an enlightened lifestyle, through proper knowledge, through proper self-confidence, through proper self-awareness. So we are trying to introduce different concept of conscious leadership at individual level, or maybe inspirational leadership at a little bit organizational level, or even transformational leadership at a global level. So these are kind of different courses that we are trying to create so that we can talk to different HR professionals in different corporations through different wellness programs to bring work-life balance, clarity in communication, building communication skills. So there are so much of possibilities that we can tap into from the problems that we all are facing right now. So in order to have that, the team that I'm working with is coming up with these 8 questions of success. Because if you look at intelligence quotient, it's just only one item that brings us success. Earlier, we were giving more importance to that. But right now, if you go for any kind of a strategic interview, they will not only test your intelligence quotient, but they also identify how emotionally balanced you are. Emotional intelligence also has been playing a major role right now. So if you look at the moral aspect of also, that is also very important right now, because a person might have high intellectual quotient, but that person, because of greed factor, because of self-discipline not having there, that person might end up in a jail. And there are a lot of examples that we can see in our society right now. So we need to have a holistic perspective to our personality, because we are multifaceted human beings, or rather spiritual beings being in disguise with human beings. So unless we really potentially develop every aspect that we all have, we become a convoluted personality altogether. We don't really grow that much. Just like in Maslow's concept of hierarchy of human needs, even beyond the self-actualization, the 5th need, after we have come over the need of survival, the need of security, need of self-esteem, all these things, the 6th need is about need of transcendence, or need of beauty, need of elegance, need of symmetry, and then see the beauty in each other, see the structure in that, the whole world, see that oneness that gives the beauty. And also to transcend from our petty self to help each other, to see it as a one human race, not just an isolated development that happens in one part of the country. The world has to evolve in terms of health infrastructure, so that any part of the world there is a problem, we can contain that, or we can prevent it. So we have to see that totality of us through the proper development of different kind of quotients, like emotional quotient, financial quotient, vision quotient, creativity quotient, spiritual quotient, social quotient, and moral quotient. And there could be a lot of relationship between how we can identify the 5 important aspects of human development, like how we can become mentally, physically fit, how we can bring that mental agility, how we can bring the financial soundness in our life, how we can bring that social reputation, how we can bring the spiritual connectedness that we all have through different combinations of different questions that we just talked about. So this also leaves us with an opportunity to explore how we can explore the 360-degree approach to the whole thing by different combinations of art and culture, by different combinations of people well-being, entertainment programs in our corporate and institutions, and also 180-degree professional development. So there are different stories that we can learn from mythology. There are different anecdotes that we can learn from different history aspects of a human experience, from different aspects of life, and how we can put them together to bring a holistic approach to leadership development, how we can bring a sustainable approach for people's well-being by collaborating the perfect blend of ancient wisdom, like yoga and Vedanta, for example, and the modern management system of the West, like positive psychology, neuroscience, neurosculpting, neuroplasticity, the neurophenomenology. There's so many things that people are working on, mindfulness, technology, social media. So right now, it's a perfect time to blend these two together. I always have a topic of how this time is so perfect right now to blend the spirituality and technology together. And those are the kind of concepts that we started with by talking about developing the 2 wings, the material wing and the spiritual wing, the gross material wing and the sublime spiritual wing, so that we can soar higher in this life itself. So of course, like there are different benefits of this one in terms of new skill training, higher self-confidence, conscious leadership and mindfulness in action, innovation and creativity, mental well-being, a different kind of agility that we can bring into our life. Of course, higher productivity, clear communication, stress management is one key thing that we can definitely achieve. Work-life balance, particularly in this time of COVID-19 pandemic when people are forced to work at home. People that I can see, many of my clients, they're talking about like they don't know where is the boundary because they might be stretching their work life too much 24/7, not having enough time for their families, for their loved ones. So even though we are together right now under one roof, but everybody is working on their own. So that separation can be bridged with a little bit of mindfulness in practice, like a little bit of empathy, a little bit of being together right now. So we might be in one track for a long time without realizing it, that the togetherness and totalness is also a necessity. So that is a very important aspect of our teaching. Of course, the new skill training, we'll all have it. So we also have come up with something like a 8-step strategy, again, based on applied aspect of yoga and mindfulness, like setting a goal, stretching techniques, like different kind of stretching techniques for a physical body, for an emotional body, for a spiritual body, different breathing aspects, as I just talked about, 576 different breathing components that we all have. How do we nurture ourselves? Because we believe that we are what we eat. So the food plays a major important aspect of it. Ayurveda talks about how we eat more than what we eat. So if you understand the how we eat aspect from the ancient Ayurvedic recommendations, we can definitely lead a very healthy life where the immune system will be stronger, so that we can prevent the virus infection and also live longer and enjoy the life and make a difference. How do we learn how to relax? How do we cleanse our physical body? How do we cleanse our emotional body? There are so much of things happens in our life. How do we take this moment to cleanse our mind, cleanse our emotion by doing different catharsis, past life regression therapy, future projections? How do we use our imagination power to yoga nidra techniques, relaxation, healing techniques, Reiki, Pranasakti, pranic healing? There's so much of things that we have at our disposal right now. Of course, meditation has become a very important aspect right now. Everybody must meditate for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, just like we do physical workout. We have to do mental work in what we call a meditation. Just like we need physical body, physical food for the body, we need silence for the mind. We need some kind of exercise to calm down our mind. Unless we have a calm and tranquil mind, we cannot create possibilities. So we go more in details about that, but I would like to give a spell of just like one step right now in this program, so that we can just have an experience of it. Let me just drive through that. Setting goal, building self-awareness, and moving towards our dreams. In yogic tradition, we call it sankalpa. Sankalpa is a very important aspect because I teach yoga nidra for many different problems. Yoga nidra is a profound solution for mind over body concept. We can really relax. I call it a stay technique, sleep that awakens you. It's an oxymoron, isn't it? Like, how can sleep awaken me? But it's a concept that your subconscious mind gets trained when you're asleep. So we have got a lot of these different small programs talking about how we can really enhance the power within our subconscious mind and to train it as we learn how to relax our mind. So during the relaxed state of mind, when it becomes very receptive, that's the time that we heal people. We usually chant with this starting mantra in the yoga class. It's a beautiful practice that really makes us more humble, I would say, like, and to seek protection from the nature. This is how people used to go to the Gurukul in the olden time to learn different things in a very austere environment, in a very complex environment. So this says a mantra like Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahano Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vaditamastu, Ma Vidvisavahai, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So the meaning of this program is, this prayer is, may the universe protect us all, may the universe nourish us all, may this workshop, this conversation that we are all having be fruitful and enlightening. May there be no discord, no disharmony among each other. May there be peace. So before we get started on this journey, let's set an intention. I would request you to maybe write down, just like take 2 minutes, it's a wonderful exercise to think about like what we need in our life. So is the chart open?
Yes, yes, that is open. Yes.
So let them write. Just allow them for 1-2 minutes to,
Yeah, yeah.
to write
I
down
think,
what are the important things that we all want in life.
Mr. Joshi is asking a question to the participants. Please go to the chat box and please write down what exactly you want out of your life. Thanks, Sonali. Sonali wants peace in life.
Yeah, thank you for reading that. Yeah, I can see the chat. That's great. Yeah.
Inner tranquility, peace, happiness and satisfaction, peace, fulfillment, clarity, wellness of mind and body, success.
While you're writing, let me just also go back a little bit more towards like the different aspects that we talked about. So just like give a reflection, maybe you can get more clue like what exactly is very important in our life. So keep writing. Take another 1 minute.
So people are writing that life is a journey towards happiness. The journey is more interesting than the destination.
Right.
I'm grateful to God for what He has given to me. I want to contribute to society. Somebody wants peace. Somebody is looking for peaceful and happy world for all. Wholesome growth of intellect with practical application to day-to-day life. Good health, both physically and mentally. So, Joshi, Mr. Joshi, if you ask a question, what people want in life, I think they will write that they want peace, they want happiness, all that part. The problem is the path that they need to tread, the path that they need to follow to reach at that goal. So
Right.
maybe if you can guide them about that path, which they can follow, so that their life can be more happier, peaceful, and they can achieve whatever goals they would like to achieve there.
That's great. So this gives a, again, I have already talked about this one, what are the different benefits and all, the 8 steps we talked about. We are in the first step, just in the exploration right now. So we are just talking about like how to set the goal. So as Dr. Panda talked about, like people need happiness, people need different kind of financial health, people need health. So all kind of these things can be summarized into 2 categories, I would say like setting it right is very important. So when I say it to my clients, I say like, you must develop a habit of being totally healthy. Because as you can recollect the WHO definition of health, it's not just absence of the disease. It means physical health, mental health, emotional health, social health, and spiritual health. So, for example, I'll just give a crude example. Like if somebody wants to have a goal of losing weight, it could be a little negative for the subconscious mind because the losing part of the negative connotation is not understood by the human mind. And somebody could lose weight by having some unknown disease. So I would always put it in a package. I'm totally healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually, and I'm slim. So that's a powerful combination. So I call it a smart packaging of the goal. So likewise, true happiness is also very important. As we talked about, the happiness can be greed-based, and which can help us in going to not a very fulfilling path of life. So happiness has to be true happiness because that's a true intrinsic nature. We can choose to be happy with everything that we have or may not have also. So that intrinsic being that we are happy, we should understand that as a true happiness. So total health and true happiness is the 2 important aspects of our life. So when we make it as a present sentence, like I am totally healthy, I am truly happy, and I put it a blank. Like here, you put something like which is more tangible, which is more short-term goal, like maybe for 6 months, 7 months, or 1 year, or 2 years time, that you want to achieve certain things in your life. That could be a good set of goals, 3 goals. And then you make it as a mantra. So what is a mantra? A mantra is something that protects your mind. Mananat trayate ja mantra. That means if you are seeing your mind racing through different thoughts, maybe when you're afraid about certain things, the mind has to slow down to have the sanity. It's like applying the brake of a running vehicle down the hill. So mantra is designed by the rishis to protect your mind. Likewise, there are concept of yantras. Yantras are different tools that is given to manifest the power of mantras. Likewise, tantra. Tantra is also a step-by-step process, how you really achieve things in your life. by going step by step function. So in other words, in the modern language, if you look at, the mantra is like software, yantra is like a hardware, and the tantra is the technology that puts the software hardware together to make a meaningful applications in our life. And in the context of goal setting, I would say that your goal itself is a software, a mantra. The human body itself is a yantra. It's a cosmic vehicle that is given us to live through this life. Whatever 70, 80, 100 years of life that we experience life, this is a cosmic vehicle. This is the yantra. And of course, the yoga is the technology that can help us to set this goal or to install the software into the hardware. I call it always an example of having a GPS. The concept, the conventional meaning of GPS is global positioning system, which helps us to move from one point of place to another place. Like if you have an address which is correctly fed into the GPS system in your car, if you drive carefully and then following the GPS instructions, I believe it's impossible to get lost. That means even if you make mistakes, it can recalculate and put you back on the track. And also the smart GPS system right now can pre-calculate what is the best path that you should take, where is the traffic we can avoid, all kind of permutations, combinations that can give us to reach from one point of time to another point of time, from one definite destination to another definite destination. So if you have a tangible goal, the GPS concept works much better, global positioning system. But if you have a path in your life, you want to be happy constantly, not just today happy and tomorrow unhappy. So if you have a path of happiness and total health, I would say the GPS stands for goal positioning system, where you are constantly driving towards a goal. Like even if you take a glass of water right now, that should really remind you that you are moving towards your goal of true health, total health, true happiness, and say, for example, success in your life. And if you practice more and more, I believe that is another possibility of a GPS. It's about God positioning system. And that God particle that we talked about, that power within us that helps us to generate things, operate things, and dissolve things to recreate new things. That power, that position, that process will be enhanced in our life. And then, of course, whatever we wish to make true, our goal will be a part of the supreme goal of the universe. So then we become limitless from limitedness. We become extraordinary. We become more spiritual. And those are the kind of possibility that we can make with a simple concept of GPS. We have already stimulated the brain through an exercise. Now, Dr. Penda, how much of time do we have?
We can take another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Then
so
we'll
I
have
think,
question answer session.
right. I have a small movie that I normally just use it for relaxing the mind. It's called
Yes,
Awakening the Inner Coach. Do you think we have time for playing that, or
you can? I can play that. You can play that now.
Okay, so that will be giving us a little bit more opportunity to practice some mindfulness, some kind of breath awareness, and then it will help us to understand what we have talked so far. It's a kind of summary of everything I have talked about, and how do we really awaken that inner coach? How do we really turn on that internal GPS system? So let me just share that to you. In between, like if you have any questions, please keep asking in the chat room. Please find a suitable place to relax and reflect for another 15 minutes with this guided meditation. You can prefer to lie down on the ground or sit on a chair or anywhere comfortable to practice this mindful relaxation. With your eyes gently open, please enjoy the natural sceneries
is getting more exciting and joyful. And as you breathe out through your mouth, you feel like all the dullness and doubts are clearing up and making you a little more cheerful and happier. Please take a couple of breaths like that. With this practice of meditation, you are becoming more aware of your true nature. You are reflecting the value of not being too judgmental or opinionated about others and your own self. If some past experience of you being judgmental about others, or even others' comments about you being more opinionated appear in your mind, just let go. Life and time, both are wonderful teachers, and every event is a meaningful lesson to learn and move forward. With this relaxed mindset, you are committing yourself to be more present and become more self-aware. If some past experiences of negative emotions, such as anger and fear, appear in your mind, you are able to let go now. You are able to take a decision right here and now to be more calm and peaceful. Please repeat a positive affirmation in your mind now. Just for today, I am not going to be angry or worried. As you continue to relax with this beautiful nature and this music, your mind is becoming more and more receptive to your positive programming. It is waking up that inner coach, and that inner coach would be able to guide you further in real life when you face more and more challenging situations. As you think of this inner coach, please allow yourself to repeat and reflect few more positive affirmations from Reiki tradition. This would further nurture your mind and heart and guide you in every step and stop of life. Just for today, I will live with an attitude of gratitude. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will not be worried. Just for today, I will do everything honestly, sincerely, and to the best of my ability. Just for today, I will become more respectful to all things and beings around me.
So everybody is having some moment to reflect on what's happening in our goal. How do you really create a positive energy by just going inward? There is a sample of how mindful meditation can be visual also, because when we open our eyes with an open mind, the same visuals can create a calmness in our mind, which will help us to reflect where we are and where we want to go in life. So I guess this is what exactly I wanted to speak about, and then I have got a few more slides about how we are doing it at a global level. Like on 21st of June, on the International Yoga Day, whose theme of this year, as we all know, yoga with family and yoga at home, as Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, has been cheerleading the whole yoga world for the world. The yogi concept, how it can really bring in a lot of meaningfulness into our life right now. So I would encourage everybody to spend some time to go inward and develop that spirituality that we all have at this time of this COVID-19 pandemic, so that the best of the resources that we all have, the mind, the intelligence, the memories that we all have, the consciousness that we all are part of, how we can really develop that consciousness so that we can become the best version of our own self. And that is what the idea behind Hridayam, how we can really build up the human resources so that we can use at least more than 5 to 7% of our mind capacity, as Dr. Pandra talked about, like, we don't use more than 5 to 7%, which is everybody talked about, how we can make it 10% in our lifetime, how we can make ourselves like Einstein, like Newton, like people. And this is all possible right now with the advent of technology and the advent of social media. I think we all have both the wings all set to help us fly much higher into the space. So, Dr. Panda, I will give you an opportunity to.
Yes, I have few questions. I have received few questions from people. I think we would like to go and look at those questions and get your views on the questions.
Yeah.
Out of these questions, one of the interesting questions that I can read is about Shiva Tandava Strotam, right? There's a question. Please throw some light on yogic importance of Shiva Tandava Strotam on young minds. What is the impact of this Strotam that normally people write on the young minds which are there? Can you please start our Q&A sessions with some interpretations of Shiva Tandava Strotam?
Right. I was, in the beginning, I showed the slide. I also part of another group called I Gurukul Odissi School, where my wife Gayatri teaches hundreds of students in Bay Area to instill this idea of how the spirituality can be part and parcel of their life, to bring self-confidence, expression, emotional intelligence, navarasha. So how we can really make yourself the best person through your dance moves, through expressions of emotions, through different abhinayas, expressions. As a part of that, we are doing a show last year where about 10,000 people watched in a major city. It's called Shiva Shakti Balance, which really talked about the Shiva Tandava Srota in a very elaborate way to have hundreds of students dancing on the stage. So if you look at the essence of Shiva, if you have got the body, which is the Shava, which is a dead body, basically, like this physical body has got no energy until the consciousness reigns inside. So the consciousness element in us is called the Shiva. So Shiva is consciousness and Shava is the body. So whenever we sleep, say for example, in a deep sleep state, the Shiva or the consciousness invests 100% into us. But when we are wakeful and dwelling in this world of illusion and delusion, the Shava or the body is totally lost. The consciousness is not invested 100%. It's only 5%, 10%, just like our mind capacity right now. So likewise, so the whole Shiva Tandava Srota talks about the energy that we all have to dance in such tune, to show that dance, not the dancer, show that Shiva, not the Shava. So we can go beyond the body-mind limitations to that unlimited consciousness by realizing the Shiva energy or the Shiva's consciousness inside us. So when you do the Srota, that's the essence of meaning that you can get, that I am Shiva. Shivoham, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So if you chant that mantra and you realize that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm pure existence, I'm pure consciousness, I'm pure bliss, I am Satchidananda. Shivoham, Shivoham. That's the meaning of Shiva Tandava dance and the Shrota, if you just have this essence that you are Shiva, not the Shava, and bring that Shiva spirit every moment of your life, you are really making the meaning of that Shiva Tandava.
Mr. Joshi, there is one more question that talks about that each one of us pursue happiness, but we try to achieve happiness through our senses, which
Right.
is not the right one. I think this is a Western philosophy whereby happiness is obtained by senses there, whereas the Indian thought is to go to the happiness through inward journey there. So if
Right.
I have my students who are influenced mostly by the Western way of looking at their courses, their lives, their lifestyles, the material comfort that they get in this generation, what is your idea? How do you think that our students should relook at themselves? What practices they should do? What kind of mindful actions they should take so that they can get more happiness, they can focus more, they can do the job which is at hand, and overall their personality is better, and we can create better human beings. And when you go out of this world, probably we will be leaving a better set of human beings to live in this world and lead in this world.
I think
Your idea, your message to the students community.
that's a wonderful question. I think right now the time has come when we talk about the Western world and the Eastern philosophy. They're merging together. One of the recent developments in last couple of decades has happened is in the name of positive psychology. I would like to name one of the professors who is a pioneer in this line. Is called Professor Martin Seligman from UPenn. He has been working on the positive psychology and the potential of human mind, not just psychology to help with the problems of the human mind, but to raise potentiality, to create possibilities, as you are talking about. So according to him, there is a formula called H equals P plus E plus M. So it's a long story. I'll just try to cut it short, and I'll explain the essence of it. So P is a factor of pleasure. Like if you think about that happiness as a factor of pleasure can give you true happiness, it's very wrong because it is very short-lived. Like say, for example, if you get happiness from alcohol, if you get happiness from smoking, if you get happiness from ice cream or any kind of sugar, it can be very addictive in nature. It is very short-lived. So any kind of happiness that we are driving from pleasure-stricken happiness or the sensory pleasure happiness, that's very short-lived and very addictive in nature. And then he talks about another example called engagement-driven happiness. Like when you get engaged into doing something, like just watching a movie rather than acting, or playing a music by yourself rather than just watching somebody play, or being a part and parcel of the play rather than just being a spectator, right? So when you get engaged into some activities, you get more happiness. And the third factor he talks about is the meaning. Like say, for example, if you have got good degrees, but if you don't do something meaningful in life, that happiness doesn't last longer. So meaningful driven happiness lasts longer. So beyond this concept, his student worked on more, and he matured his concept equals in a formula for H equals PERMA. So happiness is a factor of 5 things. It's called positive emotions, engagements, relationships, mindfulness, meaning, and engagement, and achievements in life. So PERMA, PERMA. P is positive emotion, E is engagement, R is relationship, M is meaningfulness in your life, and A is achievements in your life. So if you look at a corollary of this one, which is the source of this concept, is in our Indian tradition of Vedantic concept of yogic lifestyle, which is called Purusharth, Chart Purusharth, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So the moksha, or the ultimate happiness, or the liberation of the mind, doesn't happen by pursuit of kama or the pleasure. It has to come from dharma. What is the property? What is the inherent quality that you have? What is the education that you have got? What is your swadharma? So if you do something based on the swadharma that you are, based on the education, based on your tradition, your culture, your heritage, your educational upbringing, your aspirations in life, that will lead you towards moksha, or the ultimate happiness of life. So we have to follow the dharma, artha, kama, moksha in that order. So when you do the dharma, kama is a part of that. Pleasure will already be given. But if you pursue pleasure-driven happiness, then you'll be lost in the world of Maya.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Mr. Joshi, I have seen some of your earlier work and read about you also, where you take the fables and the stories which are built around, and then you try to find out knowledge or spiritualism behind that. For example, all of us know Ramayana. We know Rama, we know Sita, we know Hanuman. But what they exactly mean, other than being the story element which are there, is there a different meaning? I know you can say this to us, or you can source a video if you have got something on that. so that we have a proper perspective of the scriptures and the literature that we have, so that our generations can see that part. May I request you to do on that part, please?
I think that's a very good question, because we have a radio show. Like now, for the last 10 years, I've been talking the radio. About 50, 60,000 people listen to us, our program. We really create awareness about spirituality through different stories and mythological anecdotes. So one of the talks that I was giving last year during this time of Deepavali, I would like to find out if I can get one that would be very appropriate. Let's.
All of us are celebrating Dasera and Deepavali and try to remember about the beautiful memories that we have in our life related to Deepavali. So let's continue to understand what are this moral behind this Ramayana story, or what is the significance of Deepavali in our life. So I was just reminded of this beautiful interpretation of this Ramayana. So Ramayana is not only a moral story of Ram and Sita, but also has its philosophical and spiritual significance. For example, the Ra means the light, the Ma means within me, in my heart. So Rama means the light within me. Rama was born to Dasarath and Kausalya. Dasarath means 10 chariots. The 10 chariots symbolize the 5 sense organs or Gyanendriya, and the 5 organs of action called the Karmendriya. Kausalya means skill. So the skillful rider of the 10 chariots can give birth to Ram. When the 10 chariots are used skillfully, radiance is born within. Rama was born in Ayodhya. Ayodhya means a place where no war can happen. When there is no conflict in our mind, then the radiance can dawn. The Ramayana is not just a story which happened long ago. It is said that the Ramayana is happening in our own body. Our soul is Rama, our mind is Sita, our breath or the life force, prana, is Hanuman, our awareness is Lakshmana, and our ego is Ravana. When the mind or the Sita is stolen by the ego or Ravana, then the soul or Rama gets restless. Now the soul or the Rama cannot reach the mind, the Sita, on its own. It has to take the help of the breath, the prana or the Hanuman, by being in awareness, which is Lakshmana. With the help of the prana, Hanuman, and awareness, Lakshman, the mind, Sita, got reunited with the soul, Rama, and the ego, the Ravana, died or vanished. In reality, Ramayana is an eternal phenomenon happening all the time. So I think it's a wonderful message for this Ramayana and Deepavali today.
Thank you. Thank you for this visual interpretation of Ramayana and how we can take the philosophy from different part. I think metaphors and analogies are very important in life, and that teach a lot of lessons to us. Before I conclude the session, I would like to request Kavita ma'am to speak few words before I come to the conclusion part of it. Kavita ma'am, please.
Thank you, Joshiji. It was a great learning experience for me, and it was a very, very interesting, to know so many different aspects of yoga and mindfulness. Yoga Nidra, which I had been practicing for quite some time, I got a new understanding from you and also from Ramayana. So it's been a real great learning experience, and I hope I stay in touch with you. You'll allow me to do that so that my learning continues. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Joshi. We had our conversations. We'll continue to work on this field. I understand that there are so many things that you have done, and this 1.5 hours is not enough for me to bring out that knowledge and disseminate within the people, those who are watching this show. But there is a message to everybody. There is a message to avoid the chaos, cut through the chaos, cut through this darkness, look at towards that eternal light which is there. There is a message to balance between both the wings, the material pursuit of happiness and the spiritual pursuit of happiness. If we combine both of them, naturally there will be a journey upwards there. Everybody wants to be happy, but happiness through the senses is not going to work. And we have to go back to our old lessons. And the nice way you have begun by talking something called Bhutanu, which is Bhut Anu, and then also your interpretation of Siva and Sava. So these are some of the nuances which have come here, interpretations which have come here, which have made this presentation very interesting. And we look forward to having our students and the teachers and most of my friends, those who are watching this program, come back and get connected with you and then learn more from you how to be happy in life. Yeah, people learn skills, people learn knowledge, people get professions, but happiness is something where we really are searching for somebody to teach people to. And last time when I called my friend Paul Weisner, he spoke about happiness, but he just touched a part of mindfulness. My whole idea of inviting you and interacting with you is to see that how can you take that philosophy of happiness to mindfulness and convert that into action through pranayama exercises. That is why I forced also Kavita ma'am, who is a practitioner, to be present here and speak about that part. Thank you, sir, for your time. I know that you started quite early in the morning for all of us. I'm grateful for that part. I would also like to thank all the participants who are present here for today. And before I say goodbye to you, next week on 7th of August at 7 o'clock, I'll have Mr. Devdutt Patnaik, Dr. Devdutt Patnaik. He is coming live on also for an interactive session where we are trying to look at again mythology and what are the learning lessons for that. I suggest you bring your children to this event. The reason being, if you have seen his video, he has shared a teaser with us. He talks about Ravana, he talks about the Kauravas, and he talks about how bullying happened. And he is going to talk about this idea of being bullied and how bullying we should avoid on that part. There will be a direct communication to learn something out of that. He's talking for school people there. Today morning when I had a conversation with, I requested him that he should address to students this time as well as the parents there, so that we have a meaningful pattern. I think Paul laid the boundary, Paul fixed the boundary whereby he talked about happiness. Today, Mr. Joshi has spoken about the pitch on which the batting is going to happen, and all of you are getting geared up for that game. And what are the right way of playing that game from the ancient literature and mythology? Dr. Devdutt Patnaik will come. You have seen him in his Devlok program and other programs. We will be talking about that part. Again, before I conclude, I wish to thank Mr. Manoj Joshi for finding time, coming to this event. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, and I wish good night to all of you.
May I just request to end this?
Yes, please. Yes.
So let's pray together. Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from unreal to real. Lead us from death and disease to immortality. Om peace. It was a wonderful and enlightening session with all of you, enlightened souls. Amrutasya Santana. We all are spiritual beings, being in disguise with human beings. Let's realize that. Shava and Shiva. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful exercise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Good night.